stewardship, the custodianship of that. They took care of it. And in 2011, legislation put it under the Texas General Land Office, under the administration of Jerry Patterson. And then when Jerry Patterson decided to move up to Lieutenant Governor, George P. Bush stepped in. And as was mentioned, the Daughters of the Republic were taken out of their position as custodians in 2015. And soon thereafter, that Reimagine the Alamo plan was worked on. And the reason it was worked on, and you're just now hearing about it, is because it was worked on in silence. Once it finally hit the news in the end of September of this past year, the Reimagine the Alamo website was taken down. The words of Reimagine was removed. It was completely turned around. 4 different committees, nonprofit organizations, were non-transparent, brought out by the Senate Finance Committee. That's got to stop. When I get elected as the next Texas Land Commissioner, that is going to be removed, investigated. We're going to run an audit on them. We're going to see where the taxpayers' money went, over $100 million. See where all that was spent. I'm going to work on getting the Daughters of the Republic back into their advisory role, along with the Alamo Defender descendants back in there. And we're going to get rid of the Reimagine plan altogether.
Okay, so y'all know Maggie Wright. As passionate as she is about Ted Cruz, she is just as passionate about the Alamo and the whole fiasco surrounding that. So I asked her if she would come up and ask some questions of these 3 gentlemen.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to do this, it's a lightning rod type thing, but I'm going to lay some groundwork because this is one of the most important elections, this race, is because of this Alamo being politicized like a football. But right now, illegal immigration is very important to us, all over the nation, not just Texas. And right now, the U.S. Congress and Senate are trying to attach DACA amnesty to the spending bill. So there's going to be some questions that are going to be asked whenever I get through laying the groundwork, and it's going to be lightning rod type thing. And this is for the record, because they'll probably all say, oh, I'm against that, but we need to look at the record if they have a record. And then the next thing is your relationship with President Trump, so as that when he gets ready to build that wall or secure that border, will you be able to work with him as our Land Commissioner of Texas? Because that's going to be very important. And then the stance on eminent domain. For instance, rollover pass. Permission was granted to close it in 2009, and it is still not closed. Owners lost their land. The GLO, working with County of Galveston, took their property, condemned it, and the county now collects money for the fishermen to park and fish. And it's been 9 years, y'all, and there's been other things with eminent domain also. And this is something that is very important with our property rights in Texas. We, as conservatives, we are very concerned with that. Okay, the Alamo has become a political football. 2011, like they said, they took it from the DRT. I'm a member of the DRT, but this is not because why I fight for the Alamo. I had family, ancestors that fought in the Republic of Texas Army. And, okay, in 2011 that happened. In 2012, Jerry Patterson put our Alamo, signed a letter with UNESCO. And this made Julian Castro, that was mayor then in San Antonio, very happy. And this whole thing, Reimagine the Alamo, has been taking place behind the scenes. July 2015, George P. Bush, again, dismissed the daughters. And then October 14th, I was driving down to Save the Cenotaph rally. And I called Jerry Patterson because I had a roundtable discussion with George P. Bush, and he said that Jerry Patterson was the one that put it in with UNESCO, the letter, and so I thought, well, I don't know about that, so I called and asked him, and then he said, we got to talking, and he said also that if he had been Land Commissioner continued, he would have not renewed their contract, the DRT. So anyway, that's why I fight for this, but right now we're going to have 2 minutes each for them. And so the first, I want you to do lightning rod type answers. And then you'll get time to go back, because you have 2 minutes each, and maybe elaborate on some of the things I've said, or some of the things that are the lightning rod. Okay, on illegal immigration, are you for it or against it? And we'll start with you, Greg.
Illegal means illegal, period.
Okay.
That's my position. I will use the office to help the Trump administration any way possible to build the wall where it's needed, any other cooperation needed.
Okay,
I want DACA canceled, and I'm anti-immigration.
Okay. Sanctuary cities. You have 2 minutes, come on.
Sanctuary cities, no,
In-state tuition for illegals.
absolutely not.
Amnesty for legal status for DACA.
No,
Guest worker program.
possibly only with very tight, high restrictions.
Okay, and now is your relationship, or can it become, with President Trump so as to work with him to build that wall?
I have been for Trump since the day he walked up and down that tower and declared for president. I worked for him and campaigned for him, totally for him.
All right, what is your stance on eminent domain and like rollover pass? Will you side with the Texas, the people that have lost their property? Will you take their property and then start maybe letting them operate the county?
I would always use eminent domain as absolute last resort, and anytime it's done so, it should be for the public good, no private things like ballparks, malls to make people rich,
Okay,
and they should get full fair market value of their property if it's necessary to take it.
Okay, now GLO also is responsible for generating revenue, and will you also keep in mind the private property of the citizens whenever you're also generating this?
Absolutely.
Okay, and will you do all that you can, and you've already told us this, to keep the cenotaph right where it is?
Absolutely.
And this is our Veterans Memorial. Okay, and then now what is your plan for the Alamo, for what you have left? And you can go back and visit any of these.
Well, as I said, anything necessary to save the cenotaph, including armed Texas Rangers night and day. Okay? They're not going to touch it underneath. The plan, as I said before, it's already there, it's ready to go. I personally know and I'm acquainted with all the expert people that would be needed to put this plan in place, because I've worked on projects with them for 15 years. They're all ready, willing, able, and chomping at the bit to come in here and put this plan in place. And they're not going to have to be paid $3 million like Mr. Scarmaeus and Bush's other buddies. They're going to do it for a reasonable fee. A lot of them will do it for free because they love the Alamo. That's what we got to do. Get in there and get that plan in place. Enough piddling around.
Time.
Move on. Okay, Carrie.
Thank you, guys.
Hi. Are you not live?
Okay,
You ready?
Okay, illegal immigration.
I'm opposed to it.
Okay, sanctuary cities.
Opposed,
In-state tuition for illegals.
opposed,
Amnesty or legal status for DACA.
I'm opposed to that.
Okay, guest worker program.
I'm in support of a guest worker program similar to Rick. It has to be a guest worker program, not a vehicle to bring your family here.
Okay, and is your relationship, or can it become, with President Trump so that you can help him to build that wall or secure that border?
I'll have my son put a bug in his ear.
Okay, this is on
I
imminent
mean, the
domain.
guy's in control of the aircraft. He has some leverage, okay?
Okay, what is your stance on eminent domain, for instance, rollover pass? Will
A
you protect-
rollover pass, let me elaborate on
protect the
rollover pass,
citizens'
because there
rights?
was a lot of time there. We have a peninsula in Galveston County called Bolivar Peninsula. If we do not close rollover pass, it will be Bolivar Island.
Okay, let's come
That
back
is
to
a
it,
fact, that is a
okay?
fact. Now, you asked me my position.
Well, no, we're gonna let's do the rest of the.
Okay.
Okay, now, would you consider the property rights of the citizens?
Yes.
Okay. All right, as GLO generates revenue for the permanent school fund, also, will you be there for the citizens? Their
Yes.
rights, their property rights?
Yes. We set records, all-time records for income in the PSF, and we do not, the General Land Office has no power of eminent domain, just FYI.
Okay, and the Alamo, and, will you keep the cenotaph right where, or fight to keep the cenotaph right where it is?
I'll fight, I'll lay down in the street, but frankly, my fear is, and you and I have emailed about this idea that we have a trump card to stop San Antonio from moving it, I don't think that's there. I don't want to give anybody false hope. The problem with the Alamo is the city of San Antonio It's more so, that is our biggest enemy, particularly on the
Okay, you have
cenotaph.
it.
Cenotaph needs to stay here.
Go ahead.
Cenotaph needs to stay where it is.
Go ahead, finish until
Yeah.
2 minutes are up. Go ahead,
Okay,
what do you
okay,
want to talk
got
about?
it.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Is it
I'm
that?
sorry, what's up?
Is this 2 minutes up? Okay.
No, that was the best beating I've ever had.
Okay, Davey Edwards. Okay, illegal immigration,
Against it.
sanctuary cities,
Against it.
in-state tuition for illegals,
Against it.
amnesty for legal status for DACA,
Against it.
guest worker program.
I'm the same as with them.
All right, is your relationship with, or could become, with President Trump so as to help him with all possible, if you're the GLO, to
I am
secure that
for
border?
Trump. I am for Trump. I will work with him.
Okay, and with eminent domain, for instance, like rollover power.